This is the story of a man who is sentenced to life in a prison where he can't move and speak for years. In 1931, Henri Charrière, also known as Papillon, is a skilled safecracker in Paris. His daily routine involves breaking into mansions, stealing expensive jewelry, and delivering the stolen goods to his boss in exchange for a hefty payment. One day, after a successful robbery, Papillon meets his boss and hands over the stolen diamonds. The boss suspiciously asks if he has kept any diamonds for himself, but Papillon denies it. To make his point, the boss shows him a badly beaten man and warns that anyone who lies to him will face the same fate. Papillon is clearly disturbed by the sight but remains composed and leaves with his payment. Later he meets his wife, Nanette, and secretly gives her the jewelry he had hidden from his boss. As they walk, a stranger notices them, particularly the necklace Nanette is holding. That night the couple discusses their future. Nanette wants to leave the criminal world behind and settle in the countryside, but Papillon is unsure, believing they won't earn enough money there. The next morning, as they continue their conversation, someone suddenly knocks on the door. When Papillon opens it, a group of police officers arrest him, accusing him of murdering the same man his boss had beaten the night before. Papillon protests, insisting he was with his wife all night, but the police ignore his pleas and take him away. At the police station, Nanette visits him and offers to testify in his defense, but he stops her, knowing it will not help. He realizes the police have already decided his fate, so instead of fighting his case he starts planning his escape. Before she leaves he tells Nanette to move on with her life, but she refuses. In prison, Papillon befriends an inmate named Juliet, who informs him that escaping requires a lot of money. He then points to a quiet man named Louis Dega and tells Papillon that he is the key to their escape. Dega is a wealthy counterfeiter who still has hidden money. The prisoners are soon transported by boat to a penal colony in French Guiana. At night, Papillon approaches Dega and offers to protect him in exchange for money, but Dega refuses. Later that night, a prisoner is murdered because he had money hidden in his stomach. This terrifies Dega, and the next morning he changes his mind and accepts Papillon's offer. The deal is that Papillon will protect him until they reach the penal colony. Dega does not want to escape, believing his wife will get him out soon. That night, a dangerous prisoner tries to attack Dega, but Papillon defends him, causing a fight that alerts the guards. Papillon is punished, but he does not mind as he is relieved that Dega is safe. The next morning they arrive at the prison. Before entering, Juliet injures himself intentionally so he can be taken to the infirmary, planning to escape from there. Papillon and the others enter the colony, which is filled with dangerous criminals, many of them murderers. The prison warden, a cruel man, warns the new prisoners that escape is impossible. If caught, they will be sent to solitary confinement for 2 years. If they attempt escape again, they will be punished with 3 years in isolation. A third attempt will send them to the dreaded Demon Island, where people lose their minds. Additionally, anyone who commits murder will be publicly executed by guillotine. The prisoners are put to work picking up rocks. Papillon performs well, but Dega struggles since he is not used to physical labor. Later, Papillon meets a boatman and offers him a large sum of money for a boat. The man agrees and tells him to come to the shore the next night. However, a dangerous prisoner discovers the plan and demands Dega's money. Once again, Papillon steps in and defeats the attacker but gets injured in the process. Seeing this, Dega realizes he cannot survive alone. He decides to escape with Papillon, knowing he will die before his wife can free him. The next morning, the prisoners are gathered to witness an execution. Juliet, who killed 2 guards while trying to escape, is sentenced to death by guillotine. Papillon and Dega are ordered to carry the body to the burial site. However, Dega, who has never seen a dead body before, collapses in shock. When he refuses to move, a guard whips him. Enraged, Papillon attacks the guard and tries to escape but is quickly caught. That night he arrives at the shore to meet the boatman, only to realize it was a trap. The boatman had betrayed him in exchange for money from the prison warden. Papillon is taken back to prison, where the warden informs him that since the guard he attacked survived, he will not be executed. Instead, he will spend years in solitary confinement on another island. The new prison is dark and lonely with only one rule: no noise. Unlike before where prisoners could talk, here they are kept in small cells in complete silence. Even talking to oneself is punishable. The food is scarce and Papillon grows weaker. One day he unexpectedly receives a coconut with a note. He realizes Dega is secretly sending him food. This continues for weeks until the warden finds out. The kind guard delivering the food is executed, and the warden demands to know who sent the coconuts. Papillon refuses to talk, so the warden reduces his already small food portions. After a month, Papillon becomes extremely weak. The warden tempts him with a proper meal in exchange for the information, but Papillon remains silent. Furious, the warden keeps him in complete darkness for the rest of his sentence. Deprived of food and light, Papillon starts losing his mind. Eventually he is transferred to the prison hospital, where he is reunited with Dega, who has earned privileges by gaining the warden's trust. Papillon reveals he has been faking insanity to get out of solitary confinement. The two plan another escape and recruit two prisoners: Charrière, a strong but violent man, and Charrière, a weak prisoner who is often bullied. Dega gives all his savings to Charrière, who uses his connections to buy a boat. On movie night they plan to escape. Dega, serving drinks to the officers, drugs them and steals the gate key. Meanwhile, inside, the group waits, but a sudden rainstorm causes a power outage, making Charrière anxious. However, Dega arrives with the key just in time. They unlock the gate and flee to the shore where a boat awaits. The next morning as they sail away, Charrière realizes they are moving too slowly. The boat is too small for 4 people. A storm approaches and in desperation, Charrière throws Charrière into the sea, then targets Dega. Papillon fights him, and just as Charrière is about to kill him, Dega stabs him. They throw Charrière overboard and pull Charrière back onto the boat. A powerful storm engulfs them, and when they wake up they find themselves on an island. A nun welcomes them and reveals they are in Colombia. She offers them safety if they repent. Papillon urges Dega to leave, but Dega refuses, tired of running. However, the nun betrays them and soldiers capture them. Charrière is shot, while Papillon and Dega are sent back to prison. 5 years later, Papillon is sent to Devil's Island, where he reunites with Dega. Dega has accepted his fate, but Papillon has one last plan. He wants to build a raft out of coconuts to ride the waves to freedom. Dega refuses to join, having found peace in prison, but helps build the raft. The next morning they say goodbye and Papillon throws the raft into the sea before jumping on. The waves carry him away as Dega watches in tears. In 1967, Papillon is living in Venezuela, still a wanted man in France. In 1969 he is finally pardoned. He writes a memoir of his experiences and returns to Paris after 38 years. Subscribe to our channel. It will motivate us to bring more movie recaps for you.